You know, it really sounds like that intro music is running out of gas toward the end. Did you notice that? It was trucking along just fine, and then it just started running out of gas.
It's a sad whimper, which reflects our week this
Oh,
week.
fuck, dude.
What'd I miss?
Fuck you, man. You were out of town for all of this.
I went out of town
fun though.
and I was unable to return for about 6 days. I just made it back today. It was pretty bananas, but sounds like nothing compared to what you guys went through.
Yeah, you fucked off to a whole different state.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome.
Does Cancun count as a state?
Mike Cruz.
I had to meet some political allies there, so it was
Talk about insurrection part 2.
yeah.
Man,
Holy
it was
shit.
absolute hell here in Austin
Throughout
for 5 or 6 days, right?
It was
technically still ongoing.
It was
True.
funny from my end because I ended up seeing just pictures of people being like, "Oh, look, it's snowing." And then it very quickly turned into, I need to kill all of my neighbors to make suits out of their skin for warmth. And now our toilets don't flush. And now we don't have water. And now we don't have food. Like
I
was
kept
like,
on
"Holy
flashing back. I kept on flashing back to when we did that show a few weeks ago and it had snowed here in town. And Grant was like, snow's fun. And I was like, snow fucking sucks. Snow sucks ass. I hate it. It sucks. It fucking. And you're like, it's fun.
I still stand by my statement that snow is fun.
I agree.
Losing all of your electrical services, gas and water being on the line, if not completely shut off, and then freezing in weather in an environment that is not suited for it. Like none of our social structure is set up for us to be able to handle the weather that we had, and every institution that was supposed to look out for us that we pay money toward monthly, yearly, decades long failed us. So it sucked.
And we don't have the infrastructure in our utility systems to handle any of this.
You know what else is really funny? I only lost power for 30 minutes. And I know this because I have security cameras and they didn't lose any connectivity the entire time. So I didn't lose power and none of my pipes burst.
I mean, I'm actually very happy for you about that. That's good. It sucks that so many have lost it, but
It's crazy.
you lucked out that you are in a good power grid wherever you are.
I am connected to someone or something very important.
So he had a fully functional and completely vacant house.
That's right.
What a piece of shit.
Probably left on at like a balmy 78 degrees or some shit. Super warm.
It was 83.
Mike walks around in his Tommy Bahama like open shirt just all the time in his house.
So much food and fresh water, drinkable water.
Oh, it was so, the first day it doesn't really set in. It's kind of a novelty, and it's like, oh, the power went out, and they said they were going to cycle in the city for 40 minutes here or there, but obviously they're taking a little time to get back. You remember we got a notification up front.
Oh, yeah.
And then nothing. They just stopped talking to us. There was no notifications. If you had Twitter, you might be able to see their lame Twitter stream where whoever was running that shouldn't have a job because it was like a bunch of unprofessional tweets about like, hey man, we're all going through difficult times, so just be cool about it or whatever. I'm like, fuck you.
And before you realize it, it's been 3 days since you've had power.
Yeah, we had to camp in our living room, and there's something, I mean, it's traumatizing, but just having kids and not knowing how to keep them warm or when it's going to be warm again, like it's a scary moment.
And it's been 30 degrees in your house for days. And
well,
it's like 6 degrees outside and you don't know what the fuck to do.
Yeah. I mean, it was constantly just kind of checking in on everyone else. Thankfully we had neighbors who were telling us like, oh, we have warm a warm house right now. We don't have water, but you can come over to our place if you need to, and we ended up staying the next night we ended up staying over at a friend's house where he had hot showers. He was close to a hospital, and a lot of those grids that were right next to hospitals weren't shut off.
Mhm.
So we stayed there one night. Very thankful for that as well. And just like it's been humbling to see how many people have reached out and have been helping each other around the city,
Yeah.
despite all of this just being awful.
I'm really lucky that I have Kayla here because at like hour 7, I ate her. I was really hungry.
Brutal.
Now, we spent 8 hours yesterday collecting ice and snow and melting it so that we could flush our toilets because it had been 3 days. Like, yesterday was the 4th day we had without water,
Yeah.
and that's hard. That's really fucking hard. Once we got all that done, it was literally 8 hours of work of me just storing, capturing, melting water, and then the water turned on last night. Right as I was, like, winding down from a long day of melting fucking snow.
I'm similar boat. We had a pipe burst out front. Luckily, nothing inside,
Mm.
but one of the pipes burst out front, just the spigot. And so I had to turn off the water, and we've turned on water to go and fill up all of our pots and pans so that we can then turn around and have to boil everything. And the other problem is, people using their ovens or their cars to try and stay warm and like people dying. I was just talking to
Mhm.
my neighbor today, and she was telling me about how she got carbon monoxide poisoning this week because she didn't know, like, because no one's informing us about this stuff except for if you like happen to follow woke people on Instagram.
Yeah.
And so it's like she said suddenly like she was getting bad headaches because she was trying to keep warm using the oven, and like her eyes got really red and she was like passing out for like periods of time, and turns out she got really bad carbon
Whoa.
monoxide poisoning. She should have died. It sounds like it was really bad and she had to go to the ER.
That sucks, dude. I mean, for people who don't live here, it's hard to understand that this is kind of a once in a generation thing. This hasn't happened in years and years and years. And yeah, cross your fucking fingers. So nobody here knows how to deal with it. The infrastructure isn't such that it can support it. We haven't, like, yesterday was the first day after a week of hard freeze that the roads were usable.
I'm so frustrated that we clearly have a system in place where if they need to get notifications out to us, they have push notifications and they can blast it to every single person's cell phone who has one. We got
Mhm.
notifications, plus everyone who signed up for energy utilities. They could have informed them. We got no information from anyone.
Nothing at all.
They just left everyone high and dry, and we aren't a place that has stockpiles of salt or snow or sand to just like sand the streets. We don't have any snow plows to clear the streets, so everyone was just locked in their houses, freezing. Like we took our kids down the street in an air tube to go visit our friend's house, and everyone we passed was like asking us, "Hey, have you heard anything? Do you know what's going on? Like, what's the report?" Because no one knew. Everyone is in the dark, and it's like freaking everyone out. So it's like constantly just everyone trying to reassure each other because there was no government, no system that was like helping anyone.
Yeah, everything was fucking down. Nobody was helping anybody. It was a disaster. It was absolutely a disaster, and Mike got a very different perspective of it because you were trying to come home from being
Yeah,
out of town.
I was trying to come home and I got the notification on Saturday that the flight was canceled.
This is
And
last Saturday.
yeah, this is last Saturday.
Mhm.
And it's like, oh, well, it's kind of funny. Like, when was the last time that I've ever traveled anywhere outside of Austin, and then the time I'm trying to come back home, it's canceled because of fucking snow.
Right.
And then it was like, oh, it'll be fine. And then it was canceled for the next 2 and 3 days after that. And it's like, oh, holy shit.
Yeah, you kept rescheduling your flight, and they
This
kept
is
on canceling it.
and they kept on canceling it. I went through 7 different cancellations, and last night, I ended up getting to the airport, and it wasn't even canceled because of snow. It was canceled because of a maintenance issue.
You know,
I was so pissed. It was like a weird limbo hell kind of thing, but I made it back today, and everything seems to be mostly okay. There's still snow on the roads, a little
right.
bit, but in all of my years living here, snow has never accumulated more than maybe an inch or 2, and it's
Ever, and it's
always gone away in like a day.
exactly. I mean, I'm baffled by your not being able to get a flight when you look at our senator here in Texas, not only being able to get a flight out of the state, but getting one the next day right back to Houston again. Apparently, he had no difficulty flying back and forth.
Yeah,
went
I
to
mean, when I was
Cancun.
trying to when I
By
was
the
trying
way,
to get out of Cancun,
fuck that guy.
they just held me back. But he's got like name recognition, so he just gets right through.
He's the first Latino in Texas who left Texas to go to Mexico because of ice.
That guy sucks. I feel like it's not a political statement to say that everyone on the political spectrum hates Ted Cruz. Fuck
Oh,
that.
yeah, yeah. It's a bipartisan hate.
Yeah, he's just a scumbag.
Hey, so real quick, the reason we're doing this video this time is because it is Saturday night, and this is the first time we could actually record. We usually record Mondays, but last Monday, none of us had power. Mike was stuck out of town. We couldn't get anything together for a show, and usually I spend all week editing, and I just don't have time for that. So Grant came up with a great idea of, hey, let's just do a video version of the show, because we had it all set up because we do Patreon minis as videos now. And we're just giving this a try as an emergency last step to get you guys a show.
So it's gonna be sloppy, and Mike and I are gonna say stuff that Rubio's just gonna go, I wish I could edit that. And tough shit, I guess.
It's happening now. It's happening right now.
You're gonna hear all of our slurps and
Grant,
disgusting noises.
when you say Mike and I are going to say things that Rubio doesn't like, it sounds premeditated.
What's gonna happen?
Fuck you.
I mean, I wouldn't say I'm purposely doing it. I just know the inevitability.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to introduce myself. I'm John Rubio. With me, I have,
Grant Davis.
and also
Mike Lambert.
from his cozy, just newly occupied fucking house with no problems other than there's a mic in it.
It's 90 degrees. I just kept it there.
I'm so happy that you came back and you don't have like burst pipes or something that have like was just this sitting awful problem for you.
Man, I saw what happened to other people, and it was just a nightmare. And while I was away, Rubio, you put that in my head as all of these flights are getting canceled. It's like, oh, I hope your pipes don't burst. And it was like, you son of a bitch, you were just putting this fucking stress on me that I can't control now. Like, great. Like, who's gonna go check out my house? It's like,
I'm really glad the roads are melted, because I went to your house to go swimming in the living room where there's 1.5 feet of water. Lucky. Hey, we're doing a Real Ale show.
Cool.
Yeah, Real Ale is kind of a local-ish brewery. They're in Blanco, which is really close to Austin.
Mhm.
And I've been a fan of Real Ale for a really long time. I'm going to read their description from their website, because this is going to be a regular show as usual. We're going to taste 4 beers. Hopefully it'll turn out okay. Since 1996, we've been brewing in Blanco, Texas, surrounded by the natural beauty of the Texas Hill Country. When you get to make beer in a place like this, you develop a greater appreciation for the simpler things in life. Fresh air, wide open spaces, and working with your hands. Fuck you. Now's not the time for that optimism. We're proud to make beer in this little processing with as little processing as possible. In addition to being unfiltered and unpasteurized, we never use preservatives or artificial colors. We start with water from the nearby unfrozen Blanco River and the highest quality ingredients. Then we take the time to allow all the unique characteristics of the ingredients to shine. We believe in doing less to the beer And we believe that actually creates more complexity, aroma, and flavor. And I hope that works out in this tasting because this is a sampler pack that they're selling of some of their most popular beers. The first beer we're drinking is Fireman's 4. This is their blonde ale, 5.1% ABV, packaged in a 12-ounce can, and there's a best by date of May 5th, 2021 on here. The description says, named as a tribute to our good friends and badass bike makers at Fireman's Texas Cruiser, and because it was the fourth year-round beer we created, Fireman's number 4 is our most popular beer and best-selling to date. With an ever-drinkable palate of smooth malt and zesty hops, this refreshing blonde is perfect on a hot day or paired with spicy food. No wonder why so many Texans love it. And this got a GABF silver medal, gold in her blonde ale at the 2012 and 2017 GABF.
Impressive.
Yeah.
It has been a long time since I've had this beer, and I remember when this used to be a fancy craft beer to me.
Me
And
too,
then
man.
when it slid into a really pedestrian beer for me, and now it's kind of back in the middle of the road of those where I'm like, it's a good, just solid beer.
Hey, you know what's really funny? You know what's really funny? Since I'm not used to reading and pouring at the same time, the first pour of this beer I put in my dump bucket, which is thankfully empty because I can just pour this right back into my glass like a pro.
Grant, my experience with this beer is pretty similar to yours. I used to go out just to have this beer because it was something that was never packaged back in the day. And then once it was packaged, that's when it became sort of the pedestrian type beer that you're describing. But when I have it now, it's just a super solid blonde beer.
Right.
And it is a beautiful, it's a beautiful blonde color.
Pale.
Mostly clear. The slightest amount of haze on it.
It's kind of crackery, lightly fruity on the nose.
It has a little bit of a Belgian character to the nose.
Right. It's like a little bit orange, maybe a little bit of a coriander note.
There's a little bit of an isoamyl thing going on, a little bit of a banana note.
Yeah, isoamyl acetate, the same kind of banana ester that you get from Hefeweizens. A touch of clove. It smells really damn good. I haven't had this beer in forever. Man, that's really light on the palate.
Yeah.
Real
It's got a good refreshing taste.
It's got a real crisp hop finish to it as well. There's a nice lingering bitterness that's there it's not out of whack with the rest of the beer. Nice and even.
Mm-hmm. I like how fruity it is on the palate. There's a bit of a, like I said, a creamy banana, also a bit of a peach on there.
I'm getting a little bit of a bubblegum note too.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And it's prickly, but it's soft. It has a velvety quality to it, but it does drink very refreshingly. And the more sips I'm taking, the more of a spicy character, that cloviness I'm getting on my tongue.
Clove and black pepper.
Mm-hmm. That's really good.
Pear. It's a little bit of a pear note going too.
Yeah, this is more Belgian than I remember. Like I said, I haven't had this beer in probably 8 years. And when I had it last, it was kind of like, okay, I'll have a Fireman's 4, and drank it while I was out and, hanging out with friends and stuff. So I didn't really think about it very much as I was drinking it. It was just like a pleasurable beer that I wasn't trying to break down. But now that I'm paying attention to it, there are a whole bunch of nuances to it.
There's a lot of complexity that's coming out of it.
Mm.
It feels like it's very front heavy. Like that's where a lot of the presence of flavor is, and then it just drops back like almost like water afterwards. Like all the flavors up front, then nothing. And that makes this very crushable.
Mm-hmm. It also has a really nice malt character.
Mm-hmm.
Very mild bitterness at the end. But man, it's good.
They call it a blonde beer or blonde ale. This really dives into golden ale territory as well.
Yeah.
What would you guys like to eat with this? Aside from Kayla.
Man, a little bit of buttered bread. I'm not sure. Maybe I think mussels would be really good.
Just with that lemony kind of spritziness going on here.
Yeah, I'm thinking seafood, either
Shrimp.
steamed mussels or even like a cutlet or, some kind of fried fish with some lemon and some parsley on it. I think that'd be really good. Fried shrimp?
Mm-hmm.
It's good.
Mhm. You guys wanna move on?
I think I'm ready to move on.
Let's do it.
Okay, so that was Fireman's number 4 or Fireman's 4 as we call it here. The next beer, hang on, I'm gonna rinse my glass out real quick, and I'm don't wanna pour anything in the fucking dump bucket again like a noob.
Oh, you get to rinse your glass.
Uh,
Some people don't have a lot of water to spare for just rinsing glasses here.
Living in this lap of luxury with this Hans Pils, our next beer. That's what that looks like. Oh, by the way, Fireman's 4 looks like that. I can do that on video.
Yeah.
Hans Pils looks like this. This is a German style Pilsner at 5.3% ABV, packaged in a 12-ounce can. Best by July 7th, 2021. The description, you might say it's what? You might say a great beer is man's other best friend. So when we made this German style Pilsner, it just made sense to name it after the brewery's dog, Hans, the owner's German short hair pointer. Inspired by the Pilsner beers in northern Germany, Hans is crisp, brightly hoppy, and full of flavor. And that's what makes a German Pilsner different from other types of Pilsners is that, the northern German Pilsners are much hoppier. At 50 IBUs and featuring Tettnang hops, it's even hoppier than many pale ales. The German malt creates nice pale golden color and provides the perfect companion to the hops. This got a silver medal at GABF for German style Pilsner in 2012. And I believe this is one of the first canned or packaged Pilsners in the area.
I was just going to say the same thing.
Taking a look, this one's also a very clear straw golden color.
Mm-hmm. Very pretty.
Smells fantastic. When I first poured the glass, there was a bit of a sulfur note that was going on.
Oh, yeah.
That's off gas considerably at this point, but now it's just crackers, grass, pepper.
And it's a heavy bitterness.
Mm-hmm.
There's a light lemony note here as well.
Mm-hmm. And maybe something a little floral in the back end. Man, I used to drink so much of this.
Me too.
That has a good mealiness to it. Like
It does.
a little bit of a chew. That is a lot of Pilsners I find are really sharp on that crackery like hop note right at the end. This one just has a little bit more of this chewy mealiness that's pretty awesome.
What's crazy is just how bitter this is at the end for a Pilsner. It's not a super bitter beer in, the grand scheme of craft beer, but for a Pilsner, it's got a fucking whip crack at the end.
Mhm.
It's well suited for this one, though. I
You know
feel
what's
like it,
interesting? Go ahead.
I feel like it complements that chewiness and that substance that Grant was alluding to.
I'm getting a bit of something that comes off in the nose like light struck beer. Maybe a little skunky thiol or something.
Maybe that's pretty close to that sulfur or that thing I was perceiving to be sulfur.
Yeah,
But it's
mercaptan-y,
but it
sulfury.
It's interesting because it's not light struck, or at least it's it served in a can.
Yeah, it's hard to strike something with light in the can. Man,
But
this
yeah,
brings back so many memories.
there's a weird funk to it, like a grolsch or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
One of
Yeah.
those green bottle pilsners.
Mm-hmm. I'm not that mad at it.
No,
Are those called Grolsch? Is that just like a cute nickname, like pet name for it?
no. Grolsch was an actual brand of beer. They're served in
Oh,
green bottles, so
Yeah,
they have that
they had a flip
that
top.
right. Okay. I
they
was
just
thinking it was some sort of like portmanteau of like a Kolsch and green.
oh
bottle, like
no.
Grolsch.
It was just it's something that was a little bit skunky and funky, a la Heineken, something to that
Gotcha.
effect.
Okay. Yeah. Rolling Rock.
Hey, real quick, I want to point out to listeners, all this talking over each other that we're doing, that's a lot of what I have to edit out. I just want them to know that the reason this is any good is because of me.
Yeah. There's a little bit of a hiccup there in the video.
Did you miss me? What happened?
Well, just the video skipped a beat.
Oh, okay.
I
You
don't
heard
know.
everything I
I
said, though,
think
right?
there's a little bit of an internet lag.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Mm.
Anyway, this beer itself, give me a nice cheese plate with this.
Give me
Give
a
me a-
nice 5 others in the 6-pack.
Yeah. I was gonna say that I'd eat any kind of bratwurst with pickles and whatever, like all these German sausages and
Kraut,
meats.
sauerkraut. Yeah.
Yeah, kraut. I just eat it with my hand.
No rules.
No rules, man. YOLO. Just
Just
fucking pick it
go
all
for
up.
it. Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Just bear
That's
claw into there, and yeah.
what this beer makes me feel like doing.
Now that I don't have running water, I just feel like everything's filthy all the time. I'm like, ugh, I need to wash my hands everywhere I go.
I'm really curious at what your legs look like right now.
They're the cleanest part of my body.
It's
That's
that
only
oil
because
sheen.
yeah, it's only because of the barnacles you have on it.
It's so gross.
Hey, let's move on to the next one.
Okay. Look at that. No break. When
No
we're doing
break yet. Yeah, we're just gonna fucking barrel through this. That was Hans Pils. Swifty APA is what we're drinking next. This is American Pale Ale, 5.2% ABV, packaged in a 12-ounce can. Best by April 20th, 2021. I wish they did packaged on dates also. I want to know how old this is. Swifty's a refreshing revival of a classic American style, the American Pale Ale. With a light, medium body and bright citrus hops, Swifty APA delivers bold flavor, remarkable balance, and thirst-quenching crushability. Here at Real Ale, we believe there's always time for a Swifty. I should hope so. They're making it.
Man, that smells incredible. That's the first impression that I get, but
Ooh.
it's also a beautiful beer.
Mm-hmm. Super light lemon drop yellow. This smells like it's a bunch of sea hops.
And this one has a little bit of a haze going on with it. Very
Yeah, a
light.
little.
But man, I get fresh orange, a whole bunch of ruby red grapefruit. There's also something almost minty or menthy or mentholated.
Mm-hmm. Something piney too.
Piney, something soapy. While we're going with something soapy.
It sort of feels like a gift box. Yeah, it's a gift bags filled with like Cascade, Centennial, some Chinook, maybe some Amarillo.
There's
That's
also
just
some candied note going, like an orange candy.
Mm-hmm. Dude, that's delicious.
it's a
Orange candy.
slammer. It's so easy to drink.
Yeah, it really comes off far less bitter in the mouth than it did in the nose.
Mm-hmm.
And
It really,
it really leads with those almost lemony, grapefruit peely citruses.
it really lends to the drinkability, just the lack of bitterness that it has.
Mhm.
It's really packed full of hop flavor, just not much of the bitterness.
You
Yeah, well,
guys keep talking. I'm almost done with my beer.
and while it starts out with all those citruses, it really kind of lands at pine toward the end, like a somewhat pot-like dank mossy pine,
Mm-hmm.
but it's all very light and refreshing. It doesn't feel like it's layering oppressively on my palate. It just flies back there, man. It's so good.
That's what I find so interesting about Real Ale because I feel like Real Ale is one of those craft beer brands that has been around in Austin for a good long time to the point where they're established in a way that there's a good cross section of the population that has all adopted drinking this and made it kind of a part of their who they are, their essence. Like I'm an Austinite, I drink real ale beer, and it kind of crosses that divide of the craft beer enthusiast and just the common everyman who's drinking a good solid beer. And
I
yet,
used to I used to
as
drink
it
this
hits,
underage
right,
when I first moved here.
and as it hits that audience who isn't the craft beer enthusiast, it's fascinating that they still do such a bang up job of like really like doing an elegant beer, but that is so approachable for everyone.
Oh, yeah. I think the first time I had real ale was 97 or 98. It was close to when they started brewing. I don't remember what bar I was in Austin when I had them first, but I was very, very pleased by what I drank. I don't even remember what it was that I drank. I think it was a pale ale, but
Rio Blanco Pale,
maybe. I don't
Mhm.
know. It was so long ago.
or that Full Moon Pale Rye.
Dude, that was good.
Yeah,
It's been a while since I've had that one.
I need to go back and have that. That's for sure. But this is a nice departure from all of the things that I grew up on drinking from Real Ale.
Mhm.
This is them really having come into their own. I mean, they've been around for 20 years, 21 years now, something like that. It's a long fucking time. These guys definitely know what they're doing.
You know, it's funny. So I still have that Fireman's 4 in this dump bucket. That's all that's in there. Everything else is in the cans because I finished every glass of beer I poured myself. But this Fireman's 4 almost drinks heavier than this Swifty. And I was expecting it to be the other way around.
That fireman's four in a dump bucket really reminds me of college. Fireman's four in drinking games when you went to that kind of fancier kid's house
Oh,
at a
man.
college party. They had a fireman's four instead of the Keystone Light. Still, it goes in the dump bucket, and someone's got to chug that at the end of the game. Not so
That's the
bad
worst.
with fireman's four.
Yeah, Fireman's 4 has always been a good thing to accidentally drink or to be to be forced to drink from a dump bucket. If that's all that's in there, yeah.
Put that as your slogan for real.
Real Ale, I'll give you that one for free. Ringing endorsement by the Beerists. If you ever have to drink a beer from a dump bucket, make sure it's Fireman's 4 from Real Ale.
So
Man,
I guess we're down to one more beer.
yeah, I know, but I wanna okay.
Do you want to bask a little bit more in the Swifty?
No, I shouldn't. I shouldn't because then I'll be fucking wasted.
I mean,
This one will do it to you.
I know it's gonna happen anyway.
It's done it to me many, many times.
what Swifty or the next one?
The next one, Devil's Backbone.
Yeah,
I've
we
got
just
a
finished. Go ahead.
long love affair with this one.
Yeah, we just finished this Swifty APA. We're moving on to Devil's Backbone. This is a Belgian style triple, longtime favorite of the area. 8.1% ABV, packaged in a 12-ounce can. Best by July 6th, 2021. Named for a winding stretch of hill country highway that I've traveled a few times, Devil's Backbone's a Belgian-style triple featuring a beautiful pale golden color. This ale's spicy hops and Belgian yeast work together to create a distinctive flavor and aroma. Don't let the light color fool you. This one has a dark side too. Traditional Belgian brewing techniques add strength without increasing heaviness. That ancient technique is adding candy sugar.
Man, great aroma, great appearance on this beer.
Yeah, it's mostly clear with a slight haze. Look at that head, though. That is about a finger and a half.
Man, just there's so many aromas that are going on in this glass. I get bubblegum, I get baked pears, I get clove, I get baby's breath, I get marshmallow fluff,
Keep going, man. Keep going. You're nailing it.
a little bit of honey, wildflower honey.
You know what's funny is having this after Fireman's 4, it smells like an amped up Fireman's 4.
Yeah.
I mean, really amped up though.
Mm-hmm. I don't really smell the alcohol, but I do smell like it's going to be heavy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this one smells like your dad's beer. Like I'm just a little kid. I need a light little Swifty. But my old man, he's having a devil's backbone out on the porch as tumbleweeds go by or some shit.
What are you even doing?
I don't know.
This is what happens when you're fucking sealed in your broken house for days.
I thought Devil's Backbone was wasn't that like some movie on Cinemax with like James Woods?
It's a stretch of hill country highway.
I'm gonna look it up on IMDb.
Okay, you fucking dork.
Belgian style triple was the first style of craft beer that I ever really got into. And Devil's Backbone was really for a time, I think the only triple that was locally made that was here that was readily available.
Yeah, I can't think of any others.
I think it's a pretty damn good example of the style. It hits on all of the things that I normally look for in a triple. I think the only thing that's missing is the mouthfeel isn't quite as marshmallow blanket foamy as maybe the traditional Belgian styles are, but a lot of the flavor notes are right on point.
It's missing that luxuriously creamy, marshmallowy mouthfeel that you get from Belgian triples. And even some of that flavor, Belgian triples to me tend to be a little bit more vanilla tinted or, I don't know. There's something really unctuous and creamy about it. And this is sort of missing that. This feels like a drinker's triple, one that you really want to have more than one of an 8.1% beer or whatever. But it's something to drink in warmer weather, even though I think this is like a fall beer through and through.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have that fullness of a Belgian triple. It's still very fucking good though.
Mm-hmm.
It does have a lot of those, spicy qualities that you want in a triple. Those esters are really nice. The phenols are really nice. Everything is just so well put together and pulled together in this beer. I'm having a hard time stringing sentences together because I've been dehydrated for several days, and now I'm just flooding my system with alcohol.
Honestly, I can't find this Devil's movie that I thought it was Devil's Backbone. It's aggravating me, but I will say
it's aggravating me too.
Is it? I'll say that this beer it's a little sweet for me. for how big it is. It's big, it's sweet, it's boozy, and it feels like a throwback that isn't really up my alley.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't really like triples that much.
you're not really a Belgian beer fan in general. Like
I'm not a Belgian fan. I don't like the Belgians.
not even Jean-Claude Van Damme.
One Belgian. There's one muscles from Brussels that I love.
Well,
But
there's your gate. There's your gateway. There's your magical touchstone. Think of him doing the splits between your palate and the beer. Try it again.
It's gonna be so weird now.
Try it again.
We're on video.
I know. I like them to see. Okay, now you're just overreacting. You're making gecko face.
Oh, wow, that's good. It just Hadoukened my mouth. It was great.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah. That's actually Ken and Ryu that do the Hadouken. He does a sonic boom, technically. He was Guile.
Mm-hmm.
We can't edit out these pauses.
That's why I'm trying to fill them with dramatic looks.
Great.
I still really like this beer. This is one that back when I first found out about it, I guess maybe in the late 90s, early 2000s. I'm not exactly sure. It may have been early 2000s, but this was kind of a fridge staple for me. I had bottles of this almost all the time because I think that was around the time when me and my friend Mario and my other friend Beto and Greg, actually, we would try all these different beers. And anytime they came over, which was really often, we would have quite a bit of, this devil's backbone because we were kind of drunkards. And it worked.
Oh, it works. It works now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm feeling it in my drunky face right now.
Yeah, that's your normal face, Grant.
I'm feeling it in my normal face right now.
This one hits quick.
Mm-hmm.
That was always a hallmark of this one.
Yeah, and as I keep going drinking this beer, it doesn't feel like it's getting much. Like it feels like if I'm not careful, I'll go through the rest of this can and then I'll be stuck.
Mm-hmm.
It's remarkable to me that I think of other common beers like that are 8%, like a jellyfish, like electric jellyfish has been about 8% sometimes. I think now it's usually a little bit more like 6.5. For a while, it was like 8, wasn't it? Am I
don't
wrong?
remember. Maybe.
Anyway, this one is like just such a bigger beer than if I think of something like jellyfish. Or the other 8.5. If it's a hazy IPA that masks it, it's so much easier to just kind of throw back. This one is I have to sit and stumble over my words and think about this one.
So everybody else listening can know what the fuck you're talking about. He's not talking about drinking an actual jellyfish. He's talking about electric jellyfish from Pint House Pizza.
It's a big enough international beer at this point, right?
No,
everyone knows about
that. That beer doesn't make it out of this city.
Oh, you guys are missing out.
Yeah, they are. You want to get to recommendations?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Good, because at the end of every episode, we give our individual recommendations on whether we think a beer's a buy, a try, a sigh, or a die. This week, let's start with me.
Oh, big look at this. Hey. You.
Oh, there he is.
First beer we drank was Hans Pils. No, it wasn't.
Not.
It was Fireman's 4. I'm drunk.
I'm taking you off of there.
Fireman's 4, Blonde Ale. I thought it was really good. It was better than I remembered it. It's a buy.
That's me next, right?
Yes.
I'm trying to think of our normal order because I'm looking on screen. It's a little confusing. For me, I think this is a solid go-to beer. It's not really one I'm gonna grab that often, But then again, it just stylistically, I'm not grabbing a blonde that often. I give it a low try.
Okay.
As a beer in general, I give it a solid try. If you're in the area, pick it up, buy one. It's worth it. It's delicious.
Hans Pils German style Pilsner was what we drank next. That was great. It's been a long time since I've had that also, maybe a few years, because I kind of like other Pilsners better than this one, but I think it's still kind of a low buy.
I give this one a solid try. I think it's a fantastic pills. However, here in Austin, we got a lot of fantastic pills, so it's got a lot of competition. But that said, this is such an easy one that you can just grab in a 6-pack and go float the river or whatever. It's great beer. Buy it or try it. Try.
It's a high try, low buy for me. It's a great Pilsner. I think the Pilsner landscape has expanded quite a bit since this was first packaged and readily available. Still a delicious Pils, though.
Yeah, other cities would be lucky to have Hans Pils as the Pilsner of their city.
It
For
would
us,
be the best Pilsner in their city.
yeah. And for us, our Pilsners here are so fucking amazing that is kind of lower on the totem pole for me, but it's still really fucking good.
Mm-hmm.
Swifty APA. What?
I'm loving that we're on video. Just sorry, go ahead.
Swifty APA, man, Grant, Davis, everybody. Swifty APA American Pale Ale was my beer of the night. So good, so refreshing. There's really nothing I could say bad about it. It's a buy.
Beer of the night. I'm probably between a high try, low buy. Again, it's a fantastic beer, easily crushable APA. Got such a bouquet of flavors going on. I love it.
Unanimous. It's a buy. It's a beer of the night for me. It's my favorite addition to their lineup in quite some time. This is a great beer.
Yeah, it's relatively new, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Devil's Backbone. Belgian style triple was the last beer we had, and I've got about a half can of this left, and I kind of want to drink it, but I know I shouldn't. I really shouldn't. It is a try for me though, because there are so many Belgian triples that I'd rather have that are way better. But this is really fucking good.
It's a low try for me. Maybe a high sigh. No offense. It's just as far as triples go, I might have this prejudice where I want it in the elegant bottle, a little bit cleaner. It's heavy. It's too heavy for my weak palate. I'm the problem, not you.
Oh, we know that. We know that.
It's me, not you.
Mike.
This is a solid try. This was one of the better packaged triples in our area until Celis triple was packaged. That one smokes this one, but still has a good place in my heart. I still have warm feelings about this beer, but yeah, solid try.
Let's see which one lasts longer.
Whoa.
Damn, shots fired.
I think that's it, right?
I think so. Yeah. Yeah. How does this show work?
We usually do a wrap up. I guess at this point we might want to thank our audience or something.
Well,
maybe
first,
you want to thank me.
First and foremost, I do want to thank you guys, and I'm glad you're okay.
Yeah, you too, man.
Yeah, it was really helpful for me, and I'm sure it was for you guys, that we were checking in on each other constantly. It really felt like I had people I could depend on, so I appreciate that. Except for Mike, because he was out of town fucking off.
You're welcome. I'm really glad that the two of you were able to utilize my vacant, empty house for all of the things that you guys needed. while I was away.
Yeah, just don't turn on a black light in there. But we enjoy using your place.
You turn on a black light in Mike's house. It looks
I
like
would have
somebody.
warned you guys to not do that before you got there.
It looks like the Predator got stabbed in his house.
Rubbed himself all over the walls and the ceiling.
Yeah.
You have that on your Airbnb. Do not turn on a black light at my place.
No, do not turn on the black light because he's got one.
I do have one. It's by my rock collection.
He uses it to tell if he shit his pants on this side of the couch or that side of the couch last.
Oh God.
Hey, thank you, listeners, for listening. We're sorry we had to do this way, but it's the only way we could do it. We'll be back to audio next week. But I hope you enjoyed this, and I apologize for the lack of editing. Grant is terrible without it, and
and I'm just okay.
I forgot you were there. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I keep burping, and those aren't getting edited out. So
yeah, that's something I have to edit. I have to edit a lot of that out in the audio because people will just fucking burp right into the microphone. Grant will burp words.
I like how much of your nervousness about me and Mike isn't getting edited out of this video. Just you going, it's all on display here.
You should, listeners, you should make a drinking game for each time Rubio's butt puckers.
If we could,
because they're not hearing you chew us out.
If we could ever do this so that I'm controlling the video feed, like this whole stream, because Grant is directing this right now with the StreamYard. He's controlling all that stuff. But if I ever get it to a point where I could do that, I will have a pucker button that comes on every time my butt puckers. I'll put the button in my butt so that when it happens, you'll see it.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
And it'll activate. You'll have it trigger like anytime your butt puckers, it goes pucker.
Okay, so I'll have a little, like those little fish that cling to the glass and clean things with its fucking pucker mouth.
Oh yeah.
I'll put one of those in the corner. And every time I butt puckers, it'll trigger the little mouth to do like that.
I mean, not as good, but
Well, no, that's not good at all.
Rubio butt pucker. It's the best I got.
That is literally the best he's got.
That's the best I got on here.
Oh God. Thank you guys for listening. You guys are amazing. Hope you Texas listeners, other Texas listeners made it out of this okay. And I guess we'll catch you next week.
Yeah. Is that it?
Yeah, I think that's it.
Do we do the wrap-up song? Is this how we go out?
No, this is never how we go out. But that's what we have for now. So go ahead.
This is what we're doing. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody. Love you.
Chunk it, bitches.